Two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much.
Conspiracy theories are the true opium of the masses in Donald Trump's America. At least that's what the US president would like Americans to believe. What he called a real disgrace at the United Nations. A triple sabotage that Trump described as not one, not two, but three very sinister events. One that will now involve the Secret Service to investigate. All thanks to Donald Trump. In a Truth Social post, Trump shamed the United Nations. Firstly, for the escalator coming to a screeching halt. To quote the president, he and the First Lady Melania Trump averted a fall only because they were each holding the handrail tightly, or it would have been a disaster.
All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle. If the First Lady wasn't in great shape, she would have fallen. But she's in great shape. We're both in good shape. We both stood. And then a teleprompter that didn't work.
This was absolutely sabotage, as noted by a day's earlier post in the London Times that said UN workers joked about turning off an escalator. The people that did it should be arrested. That's what Donald Trump had to say. Trump then directed his attack to the failed teleprompters at the UN too. And let me quote him.
And I don't mind making the speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
Wow. First the escalator event and now a bad teleprompter. What kind of a place is this? I then proceeded to make a speech without a teleprompter, which kicked in about 15 minutes later. The good news is the speech has gotten fantastic reviews. Maybe they appreciated the fact that very few people could have done what I did. Well, that's not all. Trump has also accused the UN of deliberately turning off the sound in the auditorium where he delivered the speech. An hour-long speech for which he has already been fact-checked by various media publications like New York Times. This for his inaccurate claims about the economy, renewable energy, and the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. But Donald Trump's factually wrong claims are for another day. Let's quote Trump's post. He says, I was told that the sound was completely off in the auditorium where the speech was made, that world leaders, unless they use the interpreter's earpieces, couldn't hear a thing. The first person I saw at the conclusion of the speech was Melania, who was sitting right up front. I said, how did I do? And she said, I couldn't hear a word you said. This wasn't a coincidence. This was triple sabotage at the UN. They ought to be ashamed of themselves. I'm sending a copy of this letter to the Secretary General and I demand an immediate investigation. Interestingly, Trump's demand for an immediate investigation has already been endorsed by the White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt. Taking to X, Leavitt said, and I quote, if someone at the UN intentionally stopped the escalator as the President and First Lady were stepping on, they need to be fired and investigated immediately. In fact, Leavitt even repeated her warnings on Fox News on Tuesday night. But are we surprised that she didn't provide any evidence to establish what happened was deliberate? Now the UN has stuck to its guns, maintaining that there appears to have been no foul play. Let's start with the escalator issue. The UN spokesperson released a statement highlighting that it was a videographer from the US delegation responsible for this fiasco, simply because he ran ahead of the US President and First Lady in an effort to document their arrival. The statement reads, and I quote, our technician who was at the location reset the escalator as soon as the delegation had climbed up to the second floor. A subsequent investigation, including a readout of the machine's central processing unit, indicated that the escalator had stopped after a built-in safety mechanism on the comb step was triggered at the top of the escalator. The safety mechanism is designed to prevent people or objects accidentally being caught and stuck in or pulled into the gearing. The videographer may have inadvertently triggered the safety function described above. As for the faulty teleprompters, media reports quoting UN officials have held the White House responsible for this flop as well. They maintain that it's the White House that was operating the teleprompter for the president. Now back to the escalators, and many have highlighted how in recent months UN offices in New York and Geneva have intermittently turned them off. This to save money because of a liquidity crisis at the world body. Don't forget, that's due to delays in funding from the United States, which is the top donor of the United Nations. In fact, the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has time and again spoken of how the international body is now facing hard choices, drawing our attention to the larger picture. The moot question being, how much can the UN do to promote peace and security around the world, and what will that mean for the people they support? This without the full backing of the US and its president.
Been fighting so long and so hard that they don't know what the they're doing.